The reason I became a chiropractor was because my life and my view of health forever changed in 2009. And that's when we actually ended up losing one of my uncles to preventable disease. Now, the crazy thing was that my uncle in 2009, he was only 53 years old, and he had no indications that he had a health issue. In fact, if you would have looked at him externally or you would have known him, you would have pretty much agreed that he is a healthy person. At the age of 53, he had no chronic pain that he was in. He was on 0 medications. He had no health issues. He was a very avid fitness person. He had run multiple marathons in his life. The only thing he ever complained about was that he had on and off back pain from an injury that he had when he was 18 years old, where he actually injured his lower back in a disc, where he was told he needed surgery to fix it. He never did get surgery. He naturally healed it. And then throughout the course of 18 to 53, he would have those moments where he would throw out his back, right? You've probably heard people say that. But the pain would last 4 to 5 days and it would eventually go away. So in 2009, he actually had an extraneous weekend with activity. He woke up on a Monday morning and his back was hurting him. And it was the same pain he has had multiple times throughout his life from when he was 18. So nothing different. So he thought nothing different. He normally would take a couple ibuprofen to help him through the day. He would have pain throughout the day, and then he would get on to the next day. The second day he woke up, pain was still there, still nothing concerning. Took some ibuprofen, got him through the day. But this time, the third day he woke up in 2009 after his injury, something different happened. He woke up, not only was his back completely seized up, but he had numbness shooting down both of his legs, and he had lost most of the muscle strength in his legs as well. So that had never happened to him. That same exact morning, he goes to use the restroom and he sees a bunch of blood in his stools. So at that point, they were concerned. My aunt and my uncle went over to a small family practice that he would see a doctor, a friend of his there in Southern California. Doctor ran a few tests, took some blood and said, man, everything is off on these levels, and he referred him over to the larger hospital. Goes over to the larger hospital, ends up getting an MRI, a PET scan, and a CT scan, and doctors tell him, we're gonna diagnose this on site here today. And they actually had him wait there, which was, I guess, a big red flag for him, because normally you take tests like that and they tell you, go home and we'll send you the results in a couple days, but apparently they had seen or something that concerned them. So anyway, my aunt and uncle are sitting there in that hospital. 3.5 hours later, doctor walks into my uncle's room, behind him, 2 of the top oncologists of the hospital, and they actually diagnosed him that day with stage 4 terminal colon cancer. And they said that the cancer had already spread so far throughout his body, hit most of his lymph nodes, and they considered it incurable. And they gave him 6 months to live to that day. And he didn't even make it 6 months. That cancer ate away at his body so fast, and in 4 months, he ended up passing away. And what was a life-changing moment was not just thinking about how that happened to my uncle. It was realistically almost what the doctors told us after he passed away. And they let us know that based on the amount of cancer that they found in his body 4 months before and how quickly it had killed him, their best prediction was that his body probably had been growing cancer for 20 to 25 years before that day. But he couldn't see it, he couldn't feel it, so he had no idea it was happening. And sadly, that's the truth for most people in this country with cancer and heart disease. So I just remember that day changed everything. It got me on this journey to start figuring out what health was. And I remember then landing on things like the nervous system and learning about how health doesn't have a lot to do with feeling and how things go under the surface, but most people just don't know about the nervous system. So my life mission was to dig deep and find out what true health was. And then we landed on, there's a definition to health, which is 100% function and healing, not just feeling. And that all has to do with the central nervous system. And that's what chiropractors do, is we look at the nervous system to see if there's underlying interference, to see if there is things happening that we just don't see and feel yet. So that's why I became a chiropractor, to not only help people with their current ailments and symptoms that they may experience, but really it's to help people experience full potential and prevention.